Hello, this is Natalie with Soil Cloth Wine, and I'm currently in the Rattlesnake Hills AVA, headed to Paradiso del Sol to talk the benefits of the double curtain trellis with vintner and owner Paul Vandenburg. Hello, it is me, Natalie, with Soil Cloth Wine, and today I'm here at Paradiso del Sol Vineyards, and I'm talking to you a little bit earlier about some of your practices and the fact that you guys are organic, you haven't been using pesticides, and then we trotted out to the vineyards here, and you were telling me a little bit about why you use this trellis system and some of the problems that you were able to avoid by using it.
Well, I first learned about this system when I was going to University of California, Davis. Mark Cleaver said he believed he could grow 50% more grapes of higher quality with a different trellis system. And that's what we're doing here. So this is what we call a horizontally divided canopy system. Instead of the single thing going down the middle of the row between posts, we spread the canopy out. It gets more sunlight in, more light exposure. One of the keys to fruit quality is light exposure. So apple growers are using a similar system now, where trees are spreading out, leaving an open middle, because sunlight on fruit makes better color and better flavor. And we've also found some wonderful fringe benefits. We are in a very arid area here. In the summertime, if the thermometer hits 95 degrees, the humidity is well below 20%. We get about 6 inches, less than 20 centimeters of precipitation a year. We're relying on irrigation. So one of the other benefits of this system is we're able to put a drip line out on either side, so we're not watering directly under the vine, which makes the vegetation that grows from the drip system very manageable. We don't need to use herbicides or cultivation under the vine, because come summer, all the stuff that we're standing on right now, these are all winter annuals, pretty much will dry up and blow away. We have some dried out stuff left from this last summer, so you can see what does grow is pretty sparse, so we don't really need to worry about it. Where we get growth is out to the side a little bit, and we can very readily mow that a couple times a year. This also allows us to maintain this biological diversity. If you were to go around and look at a lot of vineyards, a lot of them are totally brown. There's no green. We are the greenest vineyard in the context of we have more green things growing in the vineyard besides grapes. Most vineyards are a monoculture. That sets them up for problems with insect pests and pathogens. By having a lot of biodiversity, we have a tremendous number of predatory insects, so insects are not an issue here. We've never had any need to use insecticides. You can almost not find leafhoppers, which are very common in most vineyards. One of the big issues in Washington State now is grape mealybug, because of its ability to transmit viruses. We have never found a mealybug in this vineyard.
Oh, wow.
I can find them in other vineyards, no problem.
In Rattlesnake Hills AVA?
Oh yeah, we can go down the road a mile and we can find mealybugs in a vineyard that uses insecticides on an annual basis to control them. We don't have them, so we don't need to control them. So I don't know what eats them here, but we got a lot of things that are predators. So we have this biodiverse thing. We have the ability to keep some things in blossom all season long, which is very important for a lot of the beneficials, which need pollen and nectar. So it's really made insects a non-issue. The intense sunlight we have here, because we're a really high intensity sunlight area. The solar panels on the roof of my house operate at 130% of rated capacity because we have this high intensity sunlight. Powdery mildew largely doesn't grow, but if you look right here, you see, lo and behold, there is a little powdery mildew evidence there. And this is also a spot where maybe things were a little more congested than we like. A little crowded here.
What varietal are we currently?
This is Cabernet Sauvignon. These are 5-year-old vines. They have been in production since their second year. We're on a very deep, fertile soil here, so we have a lot of potential vigor, which we're able to manage with irrigation.
And your pruning techniques as well?
Yeah, but I don't think pruning, we use the standard 2-bud thing, and our pruning varies on variety. Cabernet's still young, so we're still trying to tune in how many shoots per meter, because everything we do is on shoots per meter. So Riesling, for instance, 13 shoots per meter, Zinfandel, 9 or 10 shoots per meter.
And in this same little block that we're within, you guys are planting a lot of different varieties.
Yes.
And you were telling me a little bit about the fact that for each one of your lines, you'll alter the irrigation regime for your variety, but also experimentally down half of your rows and things like that.
Yeah, so I have some places where I have just one row of a variety, and so I have a valve halfway down the row so that I can water half the row a little differently than the other to see where is our fine point for water. Because there's a lot of variations. Chirello, for instance, we have one row of Chirello. It just wants to be this vigorous monster. Last year I did not water the Chirello until the end of July, and it was still a little more vigor than I wanted. Other things we needed to water starting in June. And so each variety has its own requirements, and there's some research going on in this state now, and we often refer to them as optimistic and pessimistic vines. Some vines, as soon as it gets a little dry, they stop growing. Others just keep growing because they know water's coming at some point. And so there's a lot of individual variants, and I'm trying to figure out how we can get the growth. What we want is each shoot to be not more than about 1 meter long. So this is, in my view, a perfect shoot. Some people would say it's too small, but no, we have lots of shoots per acre. We have twice as much cordon per row as a typical vineyard. So we can have a light crop level and still have overall a lot of crop.
Yes. And you were telling me a little bit of a comparison of the neighbor crop using the normal like VSB style and what they were able to produce in their acreage versus what you guys were producing with the higher quality fruit.
Well, we have 240% more cordon per acre. So we're able to have less growth, less vigor, less fruit per meter. But we have so many more meters that we end up with more crop. Because if I'm managing the cordon the way you would get a 3-ton crop on that vineyard, I would get a 7-ton crop.
And another thing that contributes to that yield and fruit quality is the fact that you guys are not getting a lot of the pathogens that you spoke about, and also the powdery mildew.
Yeah, we decided to do an experiment on eliminating fungicides entirely. We had got to the point where we were only using, on occasional years, stylet oil to control powdery mildew, and we decided we were at the point where our inventory was adequate. We could afford some crop loss, like every winery in Washington State right now. We have a bit more inventory than we need. There's a lot of grapes that didn't get picked this year. You've probably seen that driving around.
Quite a bit.
Well, we picked all of ours, and I'm very pleased that this year we had virtually no crop loss. We picked over 90% of everything, even our very powdery mildew susceptible varieties.
The Tempranillo you spoke about?
Tempranillo, we had some loss in there because we're very stringent on our qualities. If you see powdery mildew on the cluster, even a couple of berries, we just drop it.
To the pig.
Yep.
To the pig.
We have a pig that works with us in the vineyard. One of our sanitation practices, we don't want any fruit left on the vine because that's an opportunity for molds, things to get established in your vineyard and inoculum to be there. And so if we have a cluster that doesn't meet standard, we drop it on the ground and the pig comes along and eats it up.
Perfect.
She's very happy doing that.